Welcome to this new tutorial. Today we are going to explain how you can build by yourself an RB-01 device. A RB-01 device is composed by a Raspberry and a display and a specific software that you can find it online. But let's go through the agenda of today. So today we are going to check how you can download the latest version, install using Balena installer, join Discord community where you can find a lot of sources, a lot of support and the file that you need to customize the RB-01. Then we are going through the customization for your aircraft and the configuration that will allow you to use the radio, the button to go home and the autopilot. Then you are going to connect using the Wi-Fi using this URL that is the same that you already know. You can also add the 3D models of your aircraft to customize the synthetic view. But let's go back and download the latest version of the software. So first of all, you need to connect to the GitHub and go on the official release and download the latest release. Today we are going to release the latest version that will be 2.1.1. So once you downloaded the file, you shall open the Balena and insert the file here, flash from files, choose your SD card and flash it. Once you flash it, you will have, let's go back here, I suggest to connect to the Discord channel where you can download the elevation and database. But what are the database? When you're going to fly in your country, you need the synthetic vision, elevation, the database of the airfields and whatever. So this is an example of what is the content of the SD card. So here you have your file of the configuration. So today you need to modify them manually, but in the future we are going to add an editor inside so you can configure everything by yourself without touching the files. So this is the reason why we suggest you to connect to Discord channel. But let's go back. So first of all, I suggest to configure the aircraft.json that is having your home page. So this is the name of the aircraft, your name, the configuration of the speed arcs for color red, green, yellow and whatever that you will find here. So you will have the name of the aircraft, the pilot name and a lot of important stuff like the speeds that you can find here and other important informations. So once you configured the aircraft.json, you can go ahead and copy from your side the elevation that you will find here configured by synthetic view. So elevation of your country. The elevation can be asked directly on Discord channel. Then there is also the GLB path where you are going to set the 3D models, but we will talk about that later. Going ahead, there is the configuration of EMS. Now, by default, the EMS service is not enabled on the RB-01. You need to manually enable it. You can ask the configuration in Discord channel, but here there is the widget configuration of the EMS that is here on the panel or directly here on the center vision. So that will be here. You will configure all of these instruments. Then going back on the configuration, So we mentioned the EMS, synthetic view, aircraft, and frequencies. So here there are the frequencies of your ATC. So now you're looking at Italian languages. So here you have the FAC of Italy. You can find all of this also in the GitHub. Then there is also DB air fields where you can find all the air fields mapping with the elevation, the name, and the frequency. So this is very important because in the 3D model you will find also the QFO. So going ahead, once you configured everything here, you need to copy and overwrite the elevation files and the BI fields with your country. Let's go back on the agenda. So you flashed the image using Balena, then you joined the Discord channel to get the latest version of the files, and then you configured your aircraft.json. But what is inside the stratux.json? So you will find a lot of interesting configuration. So stratux.json is outside and it is here. So you are going to see the Bluetooth stuff in case you want to connect a RB-05 or incoming radio channel for or output the traffic to SkyDemon or EasyVFR using Bluetooth channel. Then you will find as example the other stuff here. So you will find the radio configuration is here. So you can set the trig or KRT2 with frequencies and setup, the camera that you can find around, so the camera can be configured also inside the panel, switches, so if you have a vertical power or if you plug some switch directly on the Raspberry, you can configure it, the magnetometer if you connected the E-quadro-C magnetometer, but how you can connect this stuff. So here there is the picture of the pin of the Raspberry. So by default we are using the E-quadro-C for magnetometer, gyroscope, accelerometer. Then you can use the GPS connected to the UART. And then we decided to use the SPI one that have 3 different input for the EMS, but you can configure by yourself inside the JSON configuration that you can find directly on the distribution, or you can ask directly on Discord channel. Going back to the configuration, so once you configured the port for the radio, the home and the autopilot, you are ready to go. So just remove your SD card, plug into the Raspberry and power it. By default, there is a configuration that is for the boot that allow you to configure which display you are going to use. As example, you have a command line.txt and config.txt. Regarding the configuration of here, we by default support the round display showed on the screen here. So we are going to use by default the round display, but it's up to you and your display vendor to configure the EC2 files. Once you configure the EC2 files, the RB-01 works and display automatically the dashboard. So the dashboard that we are going to show you will be this. That is the standard aircraft that you configured in a while. So going ahead, you push the SD card inside, and then you will find a Wi-Fi that is named right now RB-01, and the password, if you didn't change it and you are using the default setup, is my name. So once you connected to the Wi-Fi, SkyDemon or EasyVFR number 4 is automatically receiving traffic and sending the autopilot data and radio. So the system is out of the box working. If you want to go to the display, you can use the Android APK application that you can find on the same GitHub that we have, or you can browse directly this URL. You can browse using HTTP or HTTPS because the system is already providing the SSL encryption, but it's up to you to choose. This is the default URL to open the new interface. But what happens if you are going to choose the previous display? The previous display will show you the standard Stratux interface, so it will be very useful for the initial setup, where you can find if the SDR is working, if the GPS is working, and whatever you need to configure here, also in settings. So this is the default setup that you are going to have, but it's up to you to change it. Then going back, you are going to have the old style interface or the new style interface. That is this one. You can configure by opening, closing, and whatever you need on the interface. I would like to suggest you to go on YouTube channel and check on other video promotional regarding the user interface. Then, at least but not last, you can configure your model in synthetic view. What I mean by configuring your model, if you go on the closing the panel, if you're going on the 3D synthetic view, you need to load your elevation, otherwise you're going to see like that. Then you can configure the aircraft design. So to configure the aircraft design, you need to download by yourself on Sketchfab or whatever you want a GLB. What is a GLB? A GLB is a file that can customize your aircraft. So if you find your model, you can download here a GLB file and copy here. You are going on RB folder and then GLB, and then you can add yourself here. So me.glb is your aircraft, but it's up to you to overwrite and other stuff. So you can find also other examples to map the elevation and to map the existing 3D models. So this is the overall big picture here to configure everything on the RB-01. Thank you, have a nice day.